Fleet Air Arm, the world's most mobile fighting force. A force with the ability to move with the utmost speed to any part of the world. This mobility rests, in the first instance, with the means of transport, the aircraft carrier. But HMS Eagle is much more than that. The modern aircraft carrier is a floating, computer-controlled city with a population of some 3,000 inhabitants and about 50 aircraft. Yet its cost is only half that of an equivalent shore base. These gigantic floating airfields are capable of carrying out and dealing with every aspect of war in the air and at sea. Tactical strikes against a ground-based enemy, close support for our troops, no matter where, air-to-air combat using guided missiles, defense and attack against hostile submarines. The Buccaneers, Scimitars, Gannets and Vixens of today owe much to the faith and courage of the far-seeing flyers of yesterday. Men whose struggle against official opposition and lack of funds paved the way for a fighting force which is now accepted as an integral part of a navy committed to a world role. At the time, though, their early experiments often resulted in disaster and sometimes tragic loss. Defense of this modern, floating, highly mobile airfield is all important. Much is at stake in terms of lives, equipment and money. Over the horizon, guided missile ships supply medium-ranged anti-aircraft defense. Closer at hand, frigates perform a similar task, as well as seeking and destroying submarines. The destroyers and frigates employ their own helicopters, assisted by anti-submarine Wessex helicopters from the carrier itself. Early warning radar pictures are transmitted back to the task force by the Gannet. On board Eagle, there is growing activity. Our ground forces are in difficulties. Assistance has been called for to destroy a viaduct, a vital link in the enemy supply line. A demolition job is planned.
Well, the pattern of weather that we've been experiencing during the last few days, the fine weather is now starting to break up as the anticyclone moves away to the east. And we are now experiencing a moist southerly airstream.
The ship's position at launch will be 270 Kilo Kilo 58, course 345, speed 15. Hook-on weights, as for the last recovery, are on the board. Chick-in fuel states are calculated for VMC.
And they will be directed into the joiner. After fueling, the Buccaneers will continue on their high-low profile, and the Scimitars will come straight back for recovery. Are there any questions, please?
For Guy Harris and Dave Thompson, new to this particular carrier, it's the first operational sortie. They are the pilot and observer of Buccaneer number 106, call sign 022.
Out on a heading of 360 in the climb, moving out into normal battle formation. The Ds will rendezvous us on our operational frequency with the tankers at 25,000 feet, and the formation for rendezvousing will be as on
The briefings are almost finished, and very soon the air crews will be grabbing a quick cup of coffee before takeoff. Someone who hasn't time for coffee right now is the flying controller, known to the Navy as Lieutenant Commander Flying, or Little F.
Compass platform, Flyco, I'd like 30 knots for the next launch at 17:30.
Have you got the thrust meter readings, Dave?
Yeah. 1.82 port and 1.81 starboard.
1.82 and 1.81.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's go then.
Okay.
Aircrew, man aircraft.
Guy and Dave, like every member of the strike force, are specialists. Intensive training, experience and physical fitness all go to make up a small but select group of fighting men. Buccaneers of the jet age, as tested and dynamic as the sophisticated machines they fly. Men to whom the old adage of joining the Navy and seeing the world still holds a certain magic. A month ago, patrolling in the Indian Ocean. A week ago, relaxing in Hong Kong. And now, back to business.
Stand by to start up all aircraft.
Stand clear of rotors, propellers, jet pipes and intakes. Start up.
One of the most fascinating aircraft in service, the helicopter performs many different roles. In this case, the plane guard watches over the aircraft being launched, and there are those whose duties are to protect the carrier from submarine attack. Rather unattractive in appearance is the Gannet. But after all, when you're the airborne eyes of the fleet, looks aren't everything. Adding their twin voices to the already ear-splitting din on deck are the Sea Vixens, the carrier's shield against possible air attack. The scimitars are the flying filling stations. By topping them up in flight, they enable the Buccaneers to strike the enemy hundreds of miles away. The strike leader now taxis to the catapult, and his aircraft is lined up, ready for takeoff. The Buccaneer, costing upwards of £750,000, is one of the most complex and advanced weapon systems in active service. The responsibility resting on the shoulders of the pilot is immense. Next to go is 106. It's a tense moment for Guy Harris because he's faced with the prospect of being catapulted into the air at a speed of 145 knots, over 170 miles an hour. The carrier distills its own fresh water from the sea. This is essential because apart from other uses, each time the steam catapult launches an aircraft, 300 gallons of fresh water are used up. Enough to go with 17,000 tots of rum. Now airborne, they're in constant contact with control on board the carrier, whose first job on every operation is to guide them to their refueling rendezvous.
02 leader from Alpha. Your tankers are on the centre line at 15 miles. My gadget gives me Angels 25. Now just left of the centre line, range 10.
Roger.
Your tankers are in a port orbit. Height is the same. Now left 10, range 7.
Roger. Contact.
Left 15-2 now, range 5. Understand contact.
Confirmed and now visual.
Range 4. Understand visual.
Affirmative.
D. Tankers are joined, sir.
Yes, the tankers are joined. That is, the rendezvous has been made. But the physical link is yet to come. A link which will result in some of the 1,300 gallons of fuel carried by each of the scimitars being transferred to the strike aircraft, whilst both are travelling at a speed of somewhere around 300 miles an hour. Tanks topped up, the Buccaneers pick up speed and press on. This part of the operation, incidentally, may become less necessary in the future with the new long-range Rolls-Royce Spey engines fitted to the Mark II Buccaneer. As the strike aircraft head for their target, the helicopters are keeping a watchful eye open for hostile submarines with their dipping sonar. Keeping an eye open upstairs are the Vixens on combat air patrol, who split into two pairs, low cap at 5,000 feet and high cap at 40,000, to guard against air attack at any altitude. "150 miles to go, and the Buccaneers are dropping down for a low-level run-in. 15 minutes and they'll be over the target. 15 of the most critical minutes of the whole operation. "10 feet above the sea, they prepare to slip in undetected over the coast and under the enemy radar. Well in from the coast, the four aircraft grab altitude before starting their bombing run. The tension mounts as the target is sighted. Now the human element of the operation gives way almost entirely to the computer-controlled bombing system. It's all systems go as the strike leader commences his run-in. A workmanlike job completed, the idea now is to show a clean pair of heels and hot-footed for home. A home shrouded in the vastness of the ocean. In the comparative tranquility of the carrier, a welcome home is being prepared as recovery stations are manned. The Vixens join the circuit as the carrier swings into wind and picks up speed, ready to receive the returning aircraft. Deck landings may sometimes look pretty clumsy, but when your arrestor hook has to catch a wire within a 50-foot stretch of deck at 150 miles an hour, daintiness is the least of your worries.
Two leader from Alpha. I'm holding you now at 50 miles, and your heading is good for Mother, over. Stand by for present weather. The weather has deteriorated. Cloud base is down to 200 feet. Visibility is 1 mile, and your recovery will be Charlie, Charlie, Alpha, over.
Charlie, Charlie, Alpha, a carrier-controlled approach. The Buccaneers will have to be talked down onto the deck, a tricky and highly skilled operation. The pilot flies blind to within 200 feet of the sea, then looks up from his instruments for the final lineup with the angled flight deck. Guy and Dave sweat it out as they let down into the cloud.
Just coming through the gate now, 022, heading 200, still good. Slow descent now to hold 2,000 feet and advise.
2,000 feet, what turn?
Turn right, heading at 245. 245, your new heading.
Right onto 245. 022, holding 2,000 feet.
Roger, understand, holding 2,000 feet. Further right, now heading at 270, final approach. 270, the new heading. Just 11 miles to go.
Right onto 270.
10 miles to go now. Circuit speed, vital actions, advise me 4 greens.
1 turn. Four greens.
Roger, understand, 4 greens. 8 miles to go. Heading 270, still good. Call me now, channel 5, Bugger 4.
022, you're loud and clear. 6 miles, confirm 4 greens.
Affirmative, 4 greens.
Roger, maintain heading 270. Do not acknowledge further instructions and prepare to lose height. Commence your slow descent now at 5 miles. Turn left 2 degrees, heading at 268. 1,200 feet at 3 miles. Final check of your approach speed as you pass 1,000 feet. Half a mile, 200 feet. Look up for the sight. Final controller listening out.
At 22, you're high, bring her down. Coming up to the Roger. Hold it there. Keep her coming. You're going high again. Still going high. Bolt up, bolt up.
.022 overshoots and goes round again for another approach after the other two Buccaneers have been talked down. There's a sigh of relief as number 106 catches a wire at the second attempt. Just the gannets to land, and all the fixed-wing aircraft will be home and dry. So the mission is over. The strike successful. A success made possible by using carrier-borne aircraft. But technical development never stands still. In a few years, shipborne tactical and strategic missiles will be the Royal Navy's main strike and defense weapons. This move into the missile age has in fact already begun. Many of Her Majesty's ships at sea today are equipped with these latest weapon systems. More ships with even more advanced missiles are to follow. But for some years yet, our ground forces and the Royal Navy will still be able to rely on the Fleet Air Arm equipped with Buccaneers and soon the 2,000-mile-an-hour Phantom for speedy and powerful assistance whenever and wherever required.